Something really sad took place yesterday, and we gathered reports that a fire outbreak in the early hours of Monday at Nabo Street off Ikpa Road opposite Atiampa Street in Afao Koyo left one person dead, another injured, and 3 rooms reportedly destroyed. The incident, which occurred about 4 a.m., was brought under control after the intervention of the Akwa Ibom State Fire Service. Well, but even as the details of the tragedy emerge, several accounts of what happened have begun circulating, including claims about the identity of the deceased and the events leading up to the fire. At this stage, however, many of those details remain unverified, and it is important that speculation does not become the story before the authorities establish the fact. So rather than rely on accounts circulating on social media or second-hand information, we have invited the fire service to help us understand what happened, the response to the emergency and extent of the damage, and the wider fire safety questions raised by incidents of this nature. And so we'll get to speak with the Public Relations Officer of the Akwa Ibom State Fire Service, Mr. Emmanuel Udofia.
Mr. Emmanuel Udofia, he's the Public Relations Officer of the Akwa Ibom State Fire Service, to discuss extensively this issue, a sad incident really in Ikpa Road, Uyo, which led to the reported death of one person, while another person sustained extensive burns. You're welcome on the program. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you so much. It's good to be here. Thank you. Thank you.
We've had so many different versions of this story, what really transpired or what didn't, and let's hear it from you, what really transpired there.
Okay, yeah. From what you know, there was fire outbreak, and there's a loss of life. And then one of the victims at the hospital receiving treatment, as you all know as well. Now, it was kind of an electrical fire incident that happened. And this, from the report I received from my main, and from also the report we've received firsthand from the neighbors, this fire started at about 4 a.m. Yesterday, 4 a.m., as early as 4 a.m. And those folks those within the neighborhood, try within their ability, their power to contend with the fire. Not until 5:25 a.m. a call was put across the fire service. So you can count, that's more than an hour. And you know, fire, there's this deception most people have. Oh, that when it's rainy season, fire does not burn at extensive rates. No, that's erroneous. In as much as there's fuel, heat, and oxygen, whether rainy season, whether harmattan, and even whether dry season, as it were, fire burns at the same rates. So these 3 elements were there. So right now, fire service reported at the incident, a call came across at about 5:25 a.m. and at 5:28, 3-minute interval, fire service were at the scene. And at the time they had gone there, the damage had already been done. So the best they could do is to make sure that they've got down the environment so that this fire does not spread to the other neighbor,
They didn't have the potential of spreading.
No, there's possibility now.
At the time your personnel arrived.
There was such. So they have to make sure that they do the best they can contain with the ones that had already happened, and also make sure that it does not extend to virgin area.
All right, but the accounts we're having on social media, especially the remote causes that led to, the incident, actually, that led to the outbreak, the fire. I'm wondering, does the fire service have that information? What could have gone wrong that led to the fire starting in the first place?
Okay, yeah, the report I have from my men is that they discovered that this is a power bike. I don't know how they call it. It's the one that looks like a sketch kind of, the one,
It's a scooter?
It's a scooter, yeah. That's the kind I'm talking about. So they discovered that, it's rechargeable. You can charge the battery. And the battery is highly explosive. It's highly explosive. It's the same message we've been giving over time to people who have the solar panel in their home. whatever you can do to have rack outside that you store your battery, please do. We don't advise people to have any explosive substance charged within their home. Don't do it, because if there is tendency for explosion, life will not be spared. Lives won't be spared. So this young man, from the observation they made, he charged this in the home, and the battery was overheated. Now, one of the mistakes we do, even if the phones we use, to make calls daily, you charge your phone, and then maybe you've slept off. It's already 100%. Overcharging it, if it's a faulty battery, it can develop. Some persons, you come and see your phone, the battery swell. That's a potential fire explosion. That it did not explode, but it swelled. Means maybe by just an intervention of God. So these things happen. We played down on some of these little things. So that was just the major essence. The battery was overcharged. And now, the picture my men have shown to me, right, and those who were at the scene, the bullets from the battery, right, some of those extracts from the battery, they're like gun bullets. Meaning, it can shoot from here to the next neighbor. And if it shoots from this location to the next neighbor, and then it meets an explosive substance there too, or naked flame, that's another potential fire. So that was measuring the cost. So two things they saw. They saw that scroller, and then they also saw a tabletop freezer in the home. So the major cause was that scroller.
Well, there's also been, from the lady that had died, has there been any form of identification from the deceased, or still working on that?
Yeah, picture, what we do, there's always a post-event, we always do investigation, as it happens even this morning to the teams were also there. So when it happened there yesterday, and the picture is circulating everywhere about the poor girl, rest her soul. We, in as much as we are meant to save lives and property, see, the truth is, no matter how much we would pray, we are religious people. We pray over everything, right? Now, no matter how much we pray, things will always happen. But we would never want any life to get lost. We will never. So we do everything possible within ability, like the poor girl. So the only information we had was that, or maybe she went to visit a boyfriend, and then suddenly the incident happened. And it's a sad scenario, right? So I'm sure those whoever, perhaps the parents, must have been able to identify her. And from what I learned, she was taken to the morgue yesterday. And then the other victim was able to survive. That's her friend. Is presently now receiving treatment at the hospital.
And at what state is he currently? How critical is the situation? Has the fire service been able to establish?
Yes, as of yesterday, I think what one of my personnel said, that he was responding to treatments as of yesterday. So though I've not had the verified information about today what's happening, but I'm sure he should be in the states, in a good state of mind.
Well, people often assume that victims of fires die from flames themselves, and in reality, smoke inhalation and toxic gases could play a huge role. But then, what baffles a lot of people is, when this fire started, how is it that the occupants of the premises, the rooms where the fire actually started, were unable to, actually get out of the fire before it got to that stage? And then also looking, could it be that there were other issues perhaps that prevented them from being conscious enough to what was happening at the time? Allegations are that they actually came in from the club. Is that verified? Is that correct?
The same way you, as a journalist, you're trying to gather the information to know what's the major cause or the incidences surrounding the whole happenings. That's almost the same phase we find ourselves into. But from also investigations and the information on the social media platforms, we've got to know that either they went for an outing, club as it were, and possibility would be that maybe they had drank and got tipsy. Now, yeah, from what I learned from the landlady, I'm told that they have a dog, that this dog was barking since at so many past 4 a.m. Bagging, you know, and then the dog was actually caged. But how did this dog manage to get out? And then the owners were, you know,
unable to.
Perhaps either they had taken some high substance, got ratased, slept over.
So it's actually possible to
possible.
sleep that deep when
possible.
you are under the influence.
No, that's possible.
And you don't
It's
hear
possible.
whatever is happening.
No, that's possible. You know, just imagine someone now, you know, you take a certain tap to recover yourself, and then suddenly that tap seems to overwhelm your entire body. You're weak. And then something happens. Even if you hear a roach in your home, you're feeling that something, you're hearing some strange sound, but to stand. The spirit is willing, but the body says, I can't. So if it happens with just a medication, regardless of someone taking, you know, maybe alcoholic, substance that contains alcohol, so to speak. So imagine, so it's a sad scenario.
There was also something we had noticed from one of the clips while they were trying to contain the fire. They kept asking, nobody has the fire service number, no number. So we'd like to understand, is there a number people can reach out to in incidents of this nature? Maybe a closer office to areas of Ikpa Road or some other areas in Uyo. Are there different numbers, or there's one emergency number to call?
Okay, thank you. You know, fire service has locations in almost all the stations in almost all the local government, though not all of them are functional, right? But we have a central number that if you reach out to that number can link you to other places. Assuming there's fire outbreak at Ikpa Ibom, and then we have a functional fire station and fire trucks at Ikpa Ibom. So if you call you, for instance, you can link you to Ikpa Ibom station. So we have an emergency number, which I'm sure maybe at the course of the program it will be rolled out. Now, another problem most people have is this: as we are having this program now on air, the question will be how many people are opportune to watch. Now you will give an emergency number now, and then the number will be second by opportune those or those who are able to watch the program, right? So I would advise people, if you have fire service emergency number, like any other security outfit, please do well to disseminate, give it out to your neighbors, circulate it, give it out to people, because you may not know whom that little act of kindness of yours would do and how far it would go. Okay, so they do not have fire service. That's the truth. Imagine fire happening at 4 a.m. The fire service got to know. And I'm told that the person that finally called fire service, Google, went online to check. And I was able to die. You know, we are not spirit. I said this over time. Just imagine now, fire happens somewhere, and then people will try to cope the situation. And it's expanding. Remember I said 3 things. As far as heat, fuel, and oxygen is available, fire will keep burning. It will not wait for you. So assuming fire happens somewhere at about 3 a.m., okay, just imagine this time we're in the studio, and then we'll get to receive the call at 2 a.m. That's more than 1 hour, right? Getting to 2 hours. Now, reaching to the scene, the mindset people will have would be, oh, you people are coming now, meaning you have had the information before now. So why did you come late? That's why sometimes people mock at us, thinking that we have received the information earlier and then we didn't come. You've heard on one of those videos circulated everywhere, call fire, call fire. From that video, at the point they said call fire service, that was not fire at incipient stage, at the beginning stage. It was already a full-grown fire, meaning that it was almost going out of hand.
And there was very little or nothing the
We couldn't do
at arrival.
No, we couldn't do. We can only come to, you know, either ameliorate already what had happened, and also make sure we guard it from extending to major areas. Okay, so there's some fire service information number that when you die, that will give both state and federal, because we collaborate, work together.
Okay. Right,
so you both state and federal fire service, so that, please, friend, watching this morning or this afternoon, you can circulate these numbers to your neighbors, your friends, so that if an emergency happens at any point in time, please we attend to it.
We'd like to have you get those numbers. Possibly we'll put it on the screen to also get viewers to have access to them and be able to reach out to you whenever the need arises.
That's okay. So can I have the number? Okay, so now this is your fire station. So calling this number, they will link to any other local government within Akwa Ibom State. So that is 0813 356 4978. I will tell that again. 0813 356 4978. So that is your command number. So would you mind I give feeder fire service?
Yeah.
Okay, so now feeder fire service. So this is 0809 044 0552. I'll say that again. 080 9044 0552. So that's feeder fire service emergency number.
Yes, I'm sure we'll be having that up on the screen any moment from now for viewers to copy who couldn't get it when you were reading. But then let's look at the lesson that this presents before every viewer currently. Looking at this situation, it is something that could have been avoided, either from the persons directly involved and also from persons around, if they had the information they needed to have about how to reach the fire service as soon as possible. So what are those lessons that this particular sad incident presents before us at this time? And what are the responsibilities that every viewer should take up currently in ensuring that this is prevented from reoccurring?
Okay, I'll come into perspective. First, I'll come on the perspective as a mentor, right? As a motivator, right? Before I get to the angle of a professional, right? Now, as a mentor, I would want to advise both the young and the old that whatever you do within your means. Now, if I should take any food, I'm using food for example now, I don't need to eat such that it becomes a problem to me, right? Even if to drink, maybe water or anything I choose to drink, just let it be within the ability such that if anything happens, I can still be very conscious, right? So let anything you do be moderate, within the ability that you can still be conscious of yourself should anything happen. Then two, as a professional, I've said it and I'll keep saying it over time that safety is everyone's responsibility. It's not just about fire service alone, right? Don't store an explosive substance in your home. And also keep an eye on anything you have that you know could cause a problem, especially that is electrically related. Like we said, turn off your electrical appliances when you leave your home. How many people will do that? Someone will say, oh, I don't want to do this, so my food in the freezer could... Nobody knows how NEPA will bring the light. It could come sporadically. They give and take, and then if the cables used in connection isn't good, it begins to wear off. And that's a potential fire outbreak. So we all have a role to play. You play your role by making sure that you are also making this work easy for us. Fire service personnel are human beings. Some of them are fathers, some are mothers, fiancé, grandmothers, grandfathers, you know. So they're also human beings. Imagine something happening, you're running away from a building that's been attacked with fire, and there's someone is going in, inhaling the toxic gas. Like two of my personnel have complained this morning. It's a PRO. Since morning, I am spitting out dark substance. So the question would be, even the person who is going through this, what is there any medical package for him as a personnel? So imagine the propensity of damage some of these folks also go through, those who are trying to save lives. So you also make work easy for us by playing your role as a citizen of a DSL and the nation at large, by observing some do's and the don'ts. When you do this, I'm sure every one of us will be at peace.
Well, as investigations continue and relevant authorities get to work to establish the full facts of what happened, what should the public do when unverified information, surround developments of this nature? We've seen different narratives, people bringing up all manner of accounts as to what really happened. And as the Nigerian factor would have it, some are already making, very insensitive jokes around it. But how should the populace be responding when we talk about verifying information?
We live in a very fast age, faster than ever we would have thought of. So if anything happens, people will have different meanings to it. Some will just want to create reels to make money out of it, right? So I would say this, that if anything happens, do not just give in totally to what you see on the public space, on social media space, except you're able to have first-hand information. And then secondly, I don't think there's need to make jokes out of someone's plight. You don't need to, because it will look like you're being so insensitive, right? So don't depend totally on social media. Yeah. So if anything happens, you also need to verify to know whether what you're seeing on the social media platform is truth or not. So by that, you live a very sane life in the society. Yeah.
Would really want to keep a close relationship with the fire service, you to know what further revelations would come out of this particular incident as investigations continue, I believe.
Sure.
Thank you very much, Public Relations Officer of the Akwa Ibom State Fire Service, Mr. Emmanuel Udofia.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time and
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much.